Okay, so we're going to go over part three of the control tab. This is going to focus on the note map. I'm going to start off by talking about the note map. Basically, we have this huge graph, and we have all of our input notes, all 128 of them, and then we have all of our output notes. And so we use this graph to remap input notes to different output notes. So for instance, if I wanted to take this middle C here, I could map it an octave higher. So C4 is now mapped to C5. You can just click on notes, and you can also click and drag. The Kronos does have the same graph and editing capabilities. Nothing as convenient as clicking and dragging, I think. But if you go to the Karma tab and then you go to name/note map, which is the last tab on the right, and then go to the bottom of the new tabs that appear on the left, you'll find this same screen where you can find an in, x, and y out parameters. But let me see. Yeah, there's no click and drag function. But there are little arrows that let you decide to center the crosshairs on a new note. And then there also is a reset function. If you just click that, it aligns the notes as they were. This conveniently also has a compare function to let you kind of restore to whatever the saved state was. That's actually kind of useful. Let me just, without going into what these new tables are, let me just choose a different table, mess with it a little bit. I'll hit OK. Yeah, don't show this again. And then if I hit reset, yeah, it resets to that, which I wouldn't actually want to do. I would want to hit compare to restore it to the way it was. Let me go back to custom. So we have a few different checkboxes here. One is to show crosshairs, which is obviously just kind of lets us know where we're at and highlights the note that we're editing. And then the next one is audition note, which is pretty convenient. Just allows us to hear a little feedback of which one we're editing. It also works with dragging. And then we have octave replicate. So this is nice. It allows us to replicate whatever edits we do in one octave on every other octave as well, on all of the octaves. And notice that octave replicate did not undo what I have, what I already did as far as these little scribbles go. Yeah, I'm going to take off octave replicate for now and hit reset. So next, let me talk a little bit about the tables themselves. We have these custom note maps, obviously, but it's important to note that the custom table is saved per performance, or you can think of a performance as like a karma preset. So basically, you know, GEs are their own preset. They're programmed in a certain way. GEs are loaded by modules, and then modules count towards a performance. Modules and RTC controls are all saved in the combi or program. So the custom note map is saved in each individually for each combi and program, but the custom note map is shared on every module in that program or combi that might be using that custom note map. In other words, when I make edits, we see that edit reflected across anything else that has the custom note map on. Now the other tables, you saw that warning that I was getting earlier. The other tables are global, so they affect all performances. They affect all karma presets. And we have mostly drum global note maps, and I'll demonstrate what those do a little bit later. And then we also have these generic tables, which are just plain. And the nice thing about the Karma software that unfortunately the Kronos doesn't have is that you can save these generic tables in any way you want to create, like, you know, your own mappings for like your own modes or whatever. And you can then save that globally. But since the Kronos is read-only memory for the tables, you can't port those edits into the Kronos. Let me see if I get that little warning. No, I don't, since I unchecked that one box. Anyway, the middle C is highlighted with a little yellow thing. See that anything on middle C is yellow. I think that's the only note that's actually like kind of pointed out just to help you like when you're making edits way out here to help you know where middle C is. Okay, so now let me talk about the different note map modes. So we have these note maps on main, note maps on repeats, or note maps on all. I'll start off by talking about main. Also, know that note maps, like most of these controls in the performance section of Karma, all of the note maps only affect what Karma is generating. They don't affect really, like, basically if Karma is off, this doesn't do anything. You just have, you know, your MIDI through. So starting off on main, I have some pads here to help demonstrate what that's doing. This one's just a, we're using the regular GE, just the ARP0 GE. So when I hit this chromatic pad, which is just from C3 to G3, just 8 chromatic notes. When I hit that, we just get regular chromatic. And then of course, when I get to the 8th one, it jumps up to the next. So I'll just play it so you only hear the first 8. So I can make my note map respond. So basically every third, let's see, it actually, I need to make sure what octave I'm in. So I'm on C3. So here's C3. So let's say I want the third note to actually be dropped out. All I would do is take this and drop it all the way down to remove. And that means when that note plays, it actually won't play. It's been remapped to nothing. So when I hit this, we hear the third one removed in the series. And then if I play something higher, like this is chromatic, but it's starting on F, so this is above that D, we won't hear anything removed. Conveniently, we can also see the notes being played on this graph. The next mode affects, the next mode affects only the repeated notes. So that means that our edit is preserved for the regular notes. But then if we have melodic repeat on, so let me just Control L. If I put my repeat repetitions on like 7 and actually let me remove the edit that I did. So now if I just hit this pad real fast, it'll just automatically play 7 repeats that are also climbing up 1 semitone. So I just hit it. And it sounds the same as if I were to just play it and hold it down. So basically, I just wanted to recreate exactly what I'd done, just only with melodic repeats, so you can see what this repeat parameter does. So anyway, I'll go ahead and make the same edit where I'm removing the D, or the third step, chromatic step. So let me just go down to this D, and then I'll go all the way down to remove. And now if I just hit a pad, we are hearing that third step go away. And that's, again, those are just melodic repeat notes. The next one is all notes. And so that should be obvious. We're going to get the same result by hitting this. But then we would also get the same result by holding it down. Let me remove repeats. So those are both the melodic repeats and the regular notes being generated by Karma. Both have that third one dipped. So I'll leave it on all. And then note map transpose is pretty straightforward. Basically, we've removed the third one in the series, right? Let's transpose that up 1, and then we'll remove the 4th one in the series. So you can see that this one removed the 3rd one, this one played 3, and then removed the 4th one. Let me put that back to the 3rd one. The next parameter is chord track. So chord track basically makes it so whichever step you remove, it's on that octave, it's tracked across every note. So before, when I dropped out this third step, when I played this F, since there was no D in this F chromatic, we didn't hear any change. But with this, when it's tracking the octave, that means that that third step will be removed no matter which one I play, only within the octave of C3 to B3, which is obviously this square here. So we'll listen to the third one removed from C3. And then when I play this F, the third one is removed again. And then we have a keyboard track with C2 as a reference. Basically, that uses the octave of C2 to replicate across all of the octaves. And that's kind of the same thing as just hitting octave replicate. And if I were to make this edit with octave replicate on, you can see that it would actually have the exact same effect as just having this use the C2 octave as a reference. And yeah, on the Kronos itself, there is that octave replicate as well, so that's pretty convenient. I'll go ahead and undo that octave replicate, and then I'll go back to my C3 and remove that third one, not that one, the D. Oh, darn it, I left octave replicate on. Let's reset that and go back to that D3. Remove it. So if C2 is the reference octave and I've removed this on C3, then if I have this checked, then C2 doesn't have any notes removed. So it's not going to actually make any changes. You can see it playing at that C2 range. And then I guess one final thing to go over is like, it is using C as the reference octave. So that means if you were trying to like remove everything from, you know, like if you're working in a minor scale, like A minor, and I wanted to remove like the minor third from every chord, I would have to replicate that across multiple octaves. And again, octave replicate is really convenient for doing that. I feel like going into that example would take a bit too long and be a bit too boring, so I'm just going to move on. The last thing that I want to go over are the different note maps themselves. So I have this drum GE playing. I believe I could just hit run. Let's see. Yeah. And then when I choose different maps, it'll remap the MIDI notes to different notes. So this one changes side sticks and rides. So we see that snare was remapped to a side stick. And if you want to see what that does, there's this little cheat sheet that somebody made and posted on the Karma Wiki. I haven't been able to find this information anywhere else, so I would I'll leave a link to show you where you can find this. So yeah, it maps all snare notes to the side stick, maps the 3 hi-hats to the 3 ride cymbals. I don't even think I have hi-hats playing in this. Let me go to my drums. Wow. So let's compare that to the first one. So yeah, it's playing a hi-hat right now. Now it maps it to the rides, just like the cheat sheet said. And you could actually just see what it looks like. Let me close that, open this. So the drums in the Kronos, all the kits are mapped to the general MIDI standard. I think it's maybe like plus 12 octaves per chord, 12 semitones per chord, plus 1 octave. But then beyond the regular MIDI note mapping that you usually find, I think I have a chart for that too. So here's the Karma drum map. Beyond the regular GM mapping, Korg usually has like a bunch of kicks and snares, like I think above and below, and you can totally see that referenced in the different note maps. So below here we have all of these switched around. Let's check out some of the other maps. I actually don't hear any change there. It's funny, actually. I'm changing the note map here, and it's actually not reflecting. It's like a little glitch, I guess. So let me actually close this, and then there we go. So you can get so many different flavors out of a drum kit just with this one parameter itself. And something that's really nice about this is you can actually map this parameter to the global master module. Let me show you how to do that. If you go to RT parameters and then go to the performance, you can choose the control group and then you can choose note map table. And I want that to affect module 5, which is my drums. I'll just leave these at what they're at. And then I'll assign that to slider 1. And then let me pop over to this and I'll go ahead and import auto-assign RTC names so we have alternate drum maps. If I go back to controls, you can see that this is now grayed out since it's being controlled by the master module. And then I could just slide this slider to choose different drum maps. And of course that would save to the scene. So if I choose this scene, I have this sound, and then this scene, I could have this more mellow, laid back kind of breakdown sound. So yeah, tons of stuff that you can do with the note maps. It's one of my favorite features actually, and the Karma software kind of takes it to a new level since you do get to save your own custom global ones, so you can have your own templates. But in the Kronos itself, you also still have the custom note map that you can make however you want. So yeah, hugely convenient. I hope you got something out of this, and I'll see you whenever I make another one of these. I guess I'm going to go over the trigger section next time. So yeah, take care.